if you trade 1 hour per day, sometimes you can make lots of money. And the freedom that you have when you're full-time trading, it's amazing. All the people that I know that Zimtra partners with, I trust them. Sometimes you see something that is going up like 2,000% with no news, and if you can take advantage of these types of moves and understand how they come from and where do you position yourself, you have an edge. That's the edge.
Welcome back to Trade the Advantage podcast. Today we're interviewing our first ever Brazilian part-time trader. He's actually a six-figure trader from Sao Paulo, 15 plus years in trading, former institutional trader. Hello, Lucas Marin.
Hello, Stephen. How are you? Nice to meet you, and thank you for having me here.
Or should I say bom dia? Tudo bom? Como você está, meu amigo?
Bom dia.
Man, like just to kick off, you are like, look, there's no secret here. I live in Rio de Janeiro. You're from Sao Paulo. Well, I'm a massive trader. You're a massive trader. You've been trading all of your life. I've been trading for the last 10 years. It's not easy to find other traders in Brazil, especially traders trading the US markets. So can I just ask, how does a man from Brazil in Sao Paulo end up trading the American markets?
Right. Well, it basically started of not finding alpha in other markets, right? So basically, I spent at least 10 years, I would say, trading Brazilian markets. First, as a full-time employee, like I work at a Credit Suisse as an institutional trader, but my main job there was executing orders, right? So having the best execution. So the job was to managing algorithms. So everything that we speak and we see in the market is okay. So that somebody buying the stock the whole day. Usually this is our over the day algorithm. That their job is just to beat the TWA, which is time weighted average price. So it's like one type of execution, another type, it's basically percentage of the volume. So the job was having the best price for the client, right? And usually it's the biggest funds, I would say like Wellington, like one of the biggest funds in the world traded in Credit Suisse. And that was an amazing experience. But after that, I was trying to trade in the Brazilian markets, couldn't find any vol, couldn't find like Brazilian markets. We had only probably less than 400 stocks.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like in the US, we have 10,000, probably even more. And the volatility here, we never see any stock going up more than 10%. Only when there is huge news. In the US, it's crazy. It's like every single day there's something. Every single day there's at least one stock going up 100%. It's so that amazed me when I got to this market. It was a specific thing in my life that happened. Like I was an entrepreneur, so I had my own company around 2019. No, 2015 to 2019, I had my own company, and I had to basically, when we went bankrupt, I had to save some money and put this money offshore. So when I opened my first account in the first broker, which was back then Intellectual Brokers, I said, "What do I trade? Like, what do I invest in Nvidia? Actually, if I invested in Nvidia, would
Probably don't need to trade. Don't need to trade it.
But I don't know, like Apple and like these stocks that they don't have that amount of vol. And back then it was not probably were trading back then. It was the green rush. So 2019, all the wheat stocks were going nuts, and I kind of I was on the right time, on the right place. I understood the market. I did a really fundamental analysis there, and I bought like 6 stocks, and I made my portfolio go up like 100%. And basically, when I sold the shares, like all the stock, I said, "What now? Like, what do I do?" And then I found Tim Sykes. which was my mentor. And actually, like everybody that I know in the market now, it was from Tim Sykes challenge chat, or like the networking that this kind of course and like atmosphere provides. And it was amazing, man. Like I got to US markets in 2021. And when I kind of tried to, it was the end of the OTC markets boom. And so I started trading long OTCs, because that was also what Tim Sykes was trading. But then like there was a change in the regulation, something like that. I remember it was something that changed it. And basically they went like that. All the OTCs were dead. And then basically for like 2021 until now, I've been specializing in small caps, but shorting on the short side. And I've been doing pretty well. I mean, it's a lot of vol, it's a lot of squeezes, but like what I say to my students and it's like, if you're on the right side of the trade and you have, I mean, if you're trading short, you're on the right side of the trade if you have a good stock selection. But of course, you gotta be aware that if you don't have risk management, you can make some big mistakes. And I'm gonna share one of my biggest mistakes that I did, and it's gonna be nice to talk a little bit about this.
Oh no, perfect. And there's a lot of kind of discussion points there. But I mean, I know that you teach Brazilians and how to get the trade, which I think is awesome. Because I think it's an awesome opportunity to like help others like make money outside of Brazil, which is important to try and do. But the first question is, right, so you've seen the light, you've discovered the light behind the curtain of like the American stock market. So what would you say to Brazilians, your neighbors in Argentina? I'm testing my geography here: Bolivia, Uruguay, Chile. What would you say to these guys about the American stock market, if you could put in a couple of sentences?
First, if you're not trading US markets, you're trading the wrong, you're on the wrong place, right? Because, for example, Brazil Brazilian stock market, it only represents 5% of the whole financial markets. Like if you're trading in US, everybody from the whole world is trading in US. So you have opportunity from 6 a.m. in Brazil until 10 p.m. So you can trade before you go to work. You can trade when you come back from work. So you have not only that, and also the volatility. It's incredible. Like you can get like 5% moves in 1 minute. It's insane how fast these stocks they move. And not only that, you're exposing yourself to the dollar, which here in Brazil, like we don't have the best currency in the world. So if you expose yourself to the dollar, you can make money in extra income in the dollar, and also protect yourself against the real, right? So these are some, of course, some things that I would say about Brazil and like from you about US markets and why you would trade there, but it's way more. I think way more.
No, but I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's true. I mean, if you equate the real to the dollar, every dollar that you make is 6 reais. It's like 6 times more, and it's going up. And if you're in Argentina, I don't know what the dollar's worth, but it's like worth 1,000 if the Spanish currency. So like, there's definitely a stability in trade on the dollar. But I mean, what I was curious about, because like when you traded in the institution, just a quick thought, when you went to go trading full time, was there any reaction from families, from friends? What were people saying to you when you did it, and what were people saying to you after you hit the 6 figures?
Everybody was skeptical because it's a different path in life, right? And it was an experience for me, right? Seeing some, as I already mentioned to you, I'm going to talk a little bit about later. It was a moment in my life that I decided to try this, because first I was doing pretty well, and the freedom that you have when you're full-time trading, it's amazing, right? So I kind of could make this full-time trading period as a sabbatical as well. So I travel like 25 countries for the last 2 years. So if you trade 1 hour per day, sometimes you can make lots of money because the volatility, especially on some windows. For example, the first hour pre-market, first hour regular hours, first hour after hours. There are 3 time frames which there's a lot of volatility there. So you can actually be there for 1 hour and make like enough money for the day, and you can be consistent doing just following these rules, right? And I would say that what changed it in a way as well was, okay, so you don't have any income coming every single day, so there's a hard part as well. So you gotta as long as you have enough cushion to live your life a little bit, you don't have for the rest of your life, but sometimes you got to a position that you gotta make money to pay your bills, which is it's not simple, right? So I gotta take off the glamour of that, because we as real traders, we understand that you gotta put a lot of risk in our daily decisions in your life if you want to be a full-time trader, right?
Yeah, and look, I think there's like a very small minority that can like really turn an income out of every single year. But if you're fortunate enough to be in one of the, whatever the percent is, 5 or 10% of people who can make money, I think there's almost an acceptance that maybe you can make a little bit of money every year, but most of the money that you're going to make is going to be in the 2020, 2021. And then, or it's going to be in the like 2017, 2018 cannabis run or something like that. Or when EVs first got hot in like 2020 as well. Like there's specific times and moments and runs where you make the money. And then there's other times where you literally have to wait unless you're like an 10 plus trader who can find the inefficiencies in the market the other way. So I've like you're kind of part-time now. I've always never ever gone full-time in trading. I've always supplemented it with an income, because I think for most traders, like that's enough. Is it not enough to make 150 grand on top and buy an apartment? Is that not enough? Do you have to have the millions? Do you know what I mean?
True. I agree.
But
and that was one of the main decisions that I decided to come back, settle down in Brazil, and now I'm gonna be working with I cannot say the name yet, but it's gonna be something related to the market, and also hopefully as soon as possible we are like we will partner with Zimtra and probably offer a really nice solution for traders in US, right? So. And for Zimtra will be probably the first one that we're gonna partner with, and that's the reason. And I want to talk about Zimtra because it's been a while that I've been using Zimtra, and it's amazing. Like, we can discuss a little bit more about this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to quickly check one thing, and then we'll go on to it. I want to cover your trading strategy. And I want to touch Zimtra a little bit first, but just one thing before we move on from this. You did 15 years involved in trade. You did 4 to 5 years at Credit Suisse. I just want to know, did the institutional side at all help train you to be a better retail trader? And what did you learn on the institution side that benefited you on the retail side?
Great question. The one thing that, like, one of the main reasons that I kind of got in love with this market is that I could join 2 types of knowledge. First, 3 types of knowledge, actually. How flow means, because when you trade in the institutional world, you understand that what moves any stock is not technical analysis, and sometimes not even fundamentals. It's flow. So if you have money to buy stocks, you can make this stock move a lot. Like actually, when I was a trader one day, there was one day that I kind of by mistake made one stock move 6%. Me, right? So I was buying one stock. Was buying one stock which is Cielo. Probably you know Cielo. It's the credit card machine that we have here. And I had like a big order to buy. And somebody did a block trade in the middle of the day, and I had a participative order. So basically, the stock was going up, of course, because we were buying. And then somebody like did a block trade of 1 million shares, in between the spread and the robot, which was buying 20% of the volume, he just started buying like 20%. Okay, I gotta buy 200,000 shares. I made like the stock went up 6%. So what makes the stock move? It's flow. First question, right? Real, it's flow. Sometimes it's completely manipulation, and that's one of the craziest and nicest things I would say in US markets, because I could join the knowledge of flow, fundamentals, which is my core. So I would say that my trading, it's 70% fundamentals and 30% tech. So all the stocks that I'm trading, I'm analyzing which sector it is, how much cash they have, what's the dilution, what's the float, if there is news or no. And also the insiders, like what type of insiders, which country they come from, because we know that we have some countries that are more scammers than others. So all these types of information, it basically creates a map, a puzzle that you kind of use this to decide first if you want to trade a stock, second where. So if there is a stock, for example, in after hours that is moving 30% with no news, just a random pop-up, I would short it easily and wait with more confidence than one stock that is moving with news. Right? So this type of information and trading, the way that you trade, you using, of course, technical analysis to find resistances, to place your starters and where the stock can move. I use Fibonacci as well a lot. So all this information, it creates a puzzle that in Brazil, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's crazy, because in Brazil, the day trading world, it's connected to two assets: index futures in Brazil, the Brazilian index futures, and dollar futures. So everybody in Brazil, they only trade the asset. So they spend the whole day watching two assets in the screen. So I think now is a buy. I think now is a sell. So you kind of try to predict a move because you're only watching two charts. But now in US markets, you see so many things going up. It's kind of crazy. And you basically react. So you see something going up as a short seller. That's the way I kind of I search for opportunities. And basically I see something moving 100% way far away from view up with no news. I got a hit. So basically that's the structure of my trading. I use all these types of information, and that's completely different for everything that I've ever seen in any other markets.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. There's more variables that you need to take into account to make the trade. So as the next question I was going to ask you is what is the podcast is called Trade Your Advantage, Trade the Advantage. It's going to say, what's your advantage? What's your edge? And I think it just kind of described it. Is it this 10, 12, 13 part multifaceted approach to have this criteria to say that short hits my criteria?
Yeah, I would say that basically it's combining fundamentals with technical analysis to find the best spots to enter the trade. But this is the decision of trading that stock or not is completely related to the country, the flow, the news, and the dilution structure of the company. So it's completely different for everything that is around here in Brazil. So and I would say that one thing that what we as traders, we look for is two things: vol and inefficiency, right? Because the bigger the inefficiency, you know that we have one premise, right? That all the markets, the prices, they should represent the real value of the company, right? Mm. When they trade S&P 500, when they trade, I don't know, any currency, usually because there's so many players around, institutionals, HFTs, so many robots, algorithms trading that because they can hedge everywhere else, they can do a lot of things to protect themselves. You're kind of almost 100% sure that that price there that you're seeing in your screens, as it's the correct price of the asset, right? Yeah. Do you agree? Do you agree that in US markets when you trade small caps, that specific phrase that I did, it doesn't make sense, right? Because sometimes you see something that is going up like 2,000% with no news, and you know that what's happening there is completely an inefficiency of the amount of shares available for someone to short, and then they got squeezed, and then they create a squeeze, so it's completely a technical move. That price, when the stock is squeezed, it's not representing the real value of the company. It's something technical that is happening there. And if you can take advantage of these types of moves and understand how they come from and where do you position yourself, you have an edge. That's the edge, because you're trading something that you cannot see in the screen that it's inefficient. And by definition, the prices should one day represent the real value. And if you're seeing that inefficiency, it should come back. Of course, you gotta protect yourself. Sometimes you do it the wrong, you position yourself wrongly with the wrong size. But as I say, if you're shorting a completely squeezed stock, you're on the right side of the move. Just follow the rules of sizing and risk management, that you're going to be fine.
Yes, I mean, your definition of because I hear this word mentioned sometimes, looking for inefficiencies in the market. So you're describing an inefficiency as being basically when the stock moves way above what most would consider the fair value price for an unconventional, unexplainable reason.
Exactly.
And you're looking for these inefficiencies. And in America, it happens more than other places.
No, I would say it's something that people that try to understand what I do. Usually they say, "Do you happen to try crypto someday?" I said, "I'm almost sure that what I see on the U.S. markets it happens in the crypto space as well. But I don't want to be trading 24/7. I want to still have a weekend." Yeah, so it's kind of the same, but. U.S. markets, I understand more about companies, right? So when I see and I go to like research tools like Dilution Tracker, and I understand what's behind, it's way easier to understand a company in the EV sector than a crypto that I don't understand what they're, right?
But can I just ask, when you say that you're a fundamentals guy, how far do the fundamentals go? Because for me, I'm not a fundamentals guy, but I definitely would check cash, if the revenue is when the revenue and profits are going up or down. I'd definitely check the dilution. I'd check the SEC filings, but it wouldn't go beyond being like, is there an S1? Is there an S3? Is there a 4241B? I wouldn't go beyond that. So are you going beyond that?
Yeah, I do. Basically, the second level, right? The second part of this analysis, it goes through exercise prices of warrants.
Yeah.
It goes also from understanding all the ladders from NASDAQ, for example, like one of the best plays that I like to do. It's some random move that I stock. It's around 50 cents to $1 because they got to go to $1 to get an extension from the compliance of NASDAQ to stay listed. Yeah. So that's one of our main setups as well. So I go a little bit further. I also understand stock options price.
Yeah.
I also understand lockups. So all this information, it kind of creates the agenda. You got to understand the agenda behind the move, right? So that's the second layer that I kind of go deep. Also understanding how much of the percentage of the flow is in the hands of the insiders, because that's one of the main reasons that these pumps are created. And that's pretty much it. I mean, like that's the second layer. The first one is cash, it's flow, it's the if they have an S1, S3, but like you gotta see the prices, you gotta see also convertible notes. So there's a lot of information out there that you can use to understand why the move is happening, right?
And just a quick one, I did best making money probably trading when I had a full-time job. I made more money trading when I had a full-time job than when I traded full-time. When I traded full-time, it started to go wrong. So what's your thoughts on trading with a full-time job versus trading full-time?
Great question. And that kind of resonates with the moment in my life right now. And basically, when you're full-time trading, you kind of have your mind, you have in your mind, at least I had, and I still have, but I'm switching this now, that you got to be on the screen the same way as I was when I was in a job. So, okay, I start the day at 9 a.m. and I got to trade until 6 p.m. But you got to understand where your edge is. So I understood that trading from the market open until 3 to 4 p.m. Brazil markets, Brazil time, which is around 2 p.m. in US. These times are the ones that most of the squeezes happen. Most of the stocks that kind of get completely nuts, halting up, and gets all the shorts trapped. They usually happen between these hours. So I don't want to trade these hours. But I did because I was trading full time. So what should I do? Go to the gym? I don't know. But when you're trading full time, you basically want to be there because the more you have screen time, the more you can make money, right? But you gotta see your stats. You gotta understand the way you trade to understand what fits you better. For me, I understood that trading the first hour pre-market and the first hour after hours is the best time frame for me to trade. It's where my edge is. So for now, I understood that for the future, it's way better to have a job. So that's what I did before becoming full-time trader. So I had a job and I traded these 2 hours and I worked in between. It worked pretty well, right? So I kind of understood that after these 2 years is too much stress to be the whole day trading. Sometimes you feel the need to be trading, the FOMO of trading, and that's where you get to the wrong positions. And for now, like I'm completely happy with the idea that trading would be a hobby for me. Like I'm gonna do it on the right way, but it should not be my first income, like income stream. So I'm from the business side. I'm an entrepreneur as well. I love technology. I love financial markets, and that's my path right now. So I'm going to be working for one of the biggest company in Brazil in terms of technology that is going basically globally now, and that's opportunity to work with like in the US markets as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to have these two. It's not two jobs, but I mean like one job full time and like a hobby to do it at 5 a.m. It's completely fine to do it. And so this way I can, I would even trade happier and more relaxed because I don't have to pay my bills, you know?
It makes a huge sense, and there's a huge pressure. There's a huge pressure on any trader unless the one of those that are going to make multi-billions within a few years. But that brings us to an interesting point. I mean, what would you say is the worst moment or worst experience that you've ever had in the markets?
My biggest loss. Actually, I would say I had 2 moments. One that would be the critical moment that I would almost blow up. And the second one that I blew up one account. And basically the first one was both trades happened during the open. So it comes around the stats that I have. But the first one was a stock called LPA. It was a completely illiquid stock from Colombia. I don't know where it comes from, but it was a D-SPAC. So basically it was running with no news and low volume. And I didn't know that the date it started the actual run. It was the day that all the founders, all the people from the company, they were at NASDAQ, like ringing the bell there. Oh, we're opening the IPO.
You missed the news? You missed this?
The stock went, look at that. The stock went from $10 to $600. And it was insane because it was basically halt after halt. And that specific situation, I would never recommend for anybody any time in their lives. Because when you're in a position that you don't know, because also I think it was not sure if I think it was Nasdaq's, because the point is when you see the prices in the auction for the halts, sometimes you see the price like it was like $1,000 per dollars the price one moment, and it came back to 600. But that moment, when I saw 1,000, I was like blowing up both accounts, because that was one mistake. And what happened? Actually, like the first moment when I had my stop loss, so I have a rule of a financial amount that I stopped my trade. But what happens is the stock halted and went up way more. So what happens when you cannot close your position? You freeze yourself, right? So in my case, what happened, I got like completely out of my mind. I said, what do I do now? You kind of get to the point that you pray for the best. And that's not a position that a professional trader should ever be. So that was a wake up moment for me. But we also gotta be true to ourselves that we are humans, right? And we shouldn't make these mistakes, but sometimes you don't follow your rules and you gotta pay for that. That trade specifically, I was supposed to take a X amount of loss, and I took like 1/10 of the amount because he came back. So it was like, okay, fine. I got safe from this trade, but then I got another trade in October, which was DRUG, DRUG, which was completely insane. The move as well. So the only thing that I learned, the only thing that I learned from the other trade was that trade, the first one, I was positioned in both brokers that I had. Now, this one, I was only in one broker. So it was like, even though I kind of blew up that account, which means I didn't follow my rules as well, I only blew up like one account, which was the smallest account that I had. But until now, I still think about that moment where I kind of decided, like, fuck it, I'm gonna do another thing and leave it and pray for the best. And like, even though I'm ashamed to say that, I gotta be true to people here, because we are humans, and sometimes the ego comes bigger than the rational thing to do. Because I was already in like two big, not big losses, but two losses that I made. Like, I lost 1 month in terms of trading, so I don't want to lose another one and increase the drawdown. And in these moments when you and also when the other trade happens, I got away with 1/10 of the loss. So when it happens for the second time, you kind of think, it's gonna happen the same again, and that's where the problem happens, right? So you gotta follow your rules. And even though it was a big loss, I was like 150K, and I got a little bit less than 100. Then now I'm roughly around 100. So it's fine. My career is not destroyed, but it was a big loss. It took me like at least 1 month and a half to get into trading again. So I kind of had to quit for a moment to get my head around. And that's when actually I decided, okay, so I'm going to now be focusing on part-time trading. So I'm only part-time trading now. And that's the path that I'm following for now.
Yeah, and at least for now, and see what happens in a couple of years, because I was exactly the same. I've heard a lot of stories of people who make 100K and then lose it and then go on to make $1 million. I've seen a few stories like this, and it's almost like you have to make the first 100 and then lose it, because you prove that you can make it, and then you get a bit too cocky with it, and then you blow it. But for me, I remember I was full-time trading. I thought, I had a couple of 10K months, 15K months. I was like, this is making crazy money. And then like I go down 5K, 10K, 15K, and I just think, I'm just going to walk to the shop outside, buy a bottle of wine, and come back and hope that everything's okay. And I did this several times. And then one time I got hit for like 30 grand. And I was like, 30 grand in a real job, that's a lot. That's a lot of money to make back. Thankfully, it's profits. I made money over the long term and so on. But what I'm curious about is, like, first of all, what's your risk strategy now? Have you got a risk strategy down now so this doesn't happen anymore?
Yeah. So basically, my risk management, it changed a bit. First of all, excluding regular hours, and I'm already avoiding halts, which is one of the main problems that I see that the traders have in terms of risk management in stopping their positions. This is one of them. And second, it's basically I'm usually trying to find a red candle, usually a big red candle, before I make my position.
Yeah.
So the stock is running, and when I see a red candle, I understand that if the stock goes up a bit, but not going for the max, that's a place to start the position, and you can close the position here, and you go for the next one, and you can cut until you get one right? So that's a way that I kind of had to understand that it's okay to take losses during the way. And you can also, even though you take like 3 losses in the same stock in the same day, on the 4th time, you can get the right one. And basically, if the thesis is correct, of course, you can make it all back, right? It's fine to take small losses along the way. And that's what you should do, right?
No, makes full sense. And sometimes it's okay just to miss the move altogether, right? It's like, I lost on it 3 times, so just let it go down without us. But you came on the radar for me and for us because we saw that you'd signed up for Zimtra. I'm just curious about it because, like, do you know much about? Because a lot of retail traders trade with brokers, and like Zimtra is a prop firm, so. What were your thoughts on that? Did you know much about the differences, or Zimtra being a prop firm, or do you know much about the difference between prop firms and retail in general?
First, during the period that I was teaching here in Brazil, what I did, I didn't have too many options of brokers or places to place trades for people who doesn't have 25K. Right. So one of the things that Zimtra already came to me was, okay, it's one of the best solutions for people who doesn't have 25K. They are other PDT. So first, that was one of the reasons. Second, Zimtra is partnering with a lot of the best traders in the market, and they are recommending these Zimtra to all their students. And all the people that I know that Zimtra partners with, I trust them. They are like 100. They are verified millionaires. I know them some in the real life and real life. I mean, like personally. And these guys, they wouldn't tell their students to use Zimtra if there wasn't a real reason. And when I started using Zimtra, I understood that the price locates. They are way better than all of the brokers that I've seen and I used it before. And for me, not only the locates, but also the commissions. So these 2 reasons, it makes a lot of sense for people that want to be, especially in my case, which I'm a short seller, it makes too much sense to use Zimtra, right? And they have, as I understood, more than 5,000 traders using the platform and their solution. So I definitely recommend it. And everybody that I speak with, like my students and people that I talk in other communities, everybody says the same thing. Like I'm gonna be using Zimtra because in terms of pricing and service and the velocity of the execution, it's like really, really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny because when I only heard about Zimtra like a year ago, and I heard from like Edu Trades was like, Zimtra, and I'm like, hi, this guy's like one of the most honest people I know, and I'm like, and he's talking about Zimtra. Okay, then I heard from JTrader, then I saw an event in Madrid, and they were all there, and I was like, hang on a minute, there's like this. You were in Madrid? Ah, nice. And I was just like finally a big company has come on the block in an area where there's not much competition, because like the other international options are tough for people like us around different parts of the world, in England, Europe, whatever. The only thing for me is just like, what's a prop firm? I was like, well, a prop firm's not those things that do those challenges and you need to pay for the training and stuff like that. But did you did you think that? Because I was like, this is not what it is at all. Zimtra something totally different.
Yeah. I mean, like all the types of prop trading firms that I've known, it's like if you pay the course and you use their money, right? Yeah. So that's the way I thought it was, but I mean not like that's a nice solution as well. But for me, the thing that Zimtra that makes sense is exactly what you said. Like the other options for international investors, their locate prices are insane. The overnight borrows even is like way pricier. And to be honest, I'm gonna tell you something. Like I'm almost sure that the initial price from Zimtra, it doesn't allow overnight trading, overnight holding the stock. And I kind of understood that is good, man. Especially the way I trade, you get more concerned of not holding and adding up the position. That's why I started cutting the trades in the right places, because I don't want to be stuck in a position in the end of the day, having to close it sometimes on the max of the day, right? So it kind of helps me to adjust my risk management in a way that it proved it for me to be better, right? So that's another thing which is nice.
Oh no, it's good for everyone. It's good because there's a bit of a monopoly, and now the monopoly's broken. But we're going to move on to something a bit more positive. When you did have the good results, when you were on your good run, you were traveling a lot. Tell us about. By the way, if I drink out of this cup, does it offend you at all, or is it okay?
No, that's fine. It's one of the beers.
Which are you? Do you support for someone, or do you have a?
I support São Paulo, which is
São Paulo.
It used to be a good team, but nowadays, not anymore. But so your question was like the good side of trading.
The good side. So where were you traveling? What were you doing? How was that life? And we'll close on that.
And that's a good question. And to be honest, especially the amount of hours that the US markets have, it provides the ability of trading. Sometimes, like I was in Asia, and I could travel the whole day, like do like tours and stuff. And it's like 9 p.m. It's the market open, so you basically can travel the whole day, and night you just work. So that's what I said. Like these 3 windows, like market, pre-market opening, regular hours, and after hours, these 3 windows. If you choose 1 or 2 of them, you basically can make the most of the day just there, right? So it kind of worked pretty well. So I could pay the whole trip. Like I this 6 months of traveling in Asia and Australia, and I paid all of it with the trading money. So it was a great opportunity to do this, and only trading 1 hour a day. So it was amazing.
I'm gonna make up. I don't know anything about where you traveled or anything where you've been, but I'm gonna make some predictions and say you've done Australia. So, which city's better, Melbourne or Sydney?
I only been to Sydney, so I would say Sydney. It's amazing. It's
Bondi Beach is good, but you're surfing and stuff like that. There's no waves in Sao Paulo, right? So there's no practicing.
Yeah. So Bondi Beach is really cool. Mainly beach as well. So there's a lot of places. But I spent not too many days in Australia. The biggest ones were in New Zealand, which I definitely recommend everybody. It's an undiscovered place on Earth. Like people sometimes they have a clue what is there. And I'm one of the I'm biggest fan in Lord of the Rings. So there's a lot of places from Lord of the Rings there for the filmmaking there. It's really nice.
And I'm thinking for Asia, you must have been through Thailand,
Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos,
yeah,
Malaysia, Singapore, all of it. It's
favorite Thai island.
Say it again.
Favorite Thai island.
Koh Tao.
Mine too. I was just there recently. The diving place.
Really?
I was just there 3 weeks ago or something like that. Yeah. With me elephant pants. I had me elephant pants and stuff, yeah.
Oh God, man, that was the place that I did the diving course. So that was one of the best, amazing experience that I had.
Koh Phi Phi. Koh Phi Phi was a nice little chilled out island if you went through there. Koh Tao was also, Koh Phi didn't have so much. Koh Samui Koh Samui's kind of nice, more built up, but Koh Tao was like, had this like traveler, chilled, just make some money on the markets, relax, go diving, had that vibe, no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it right. That's it.
Beautiful. I'm going to let you give any final golden nuggets, any final tips, any words of wisdom to pass on, and then we'll close it out.
Right. So I would say that, first of all, if you guys are listening and knowing the US, like what we discussed here in terms of how the market structure works, I definitely recommend you guys to search for more information in YouTube. For example, my YouTube channel is in Portuguese. So for those who understand Portuguese, you're welcome there. But there's a lot of good information out there that you gotta learn and understand that it's the best place to make some extra money. Or even like myself, I did this for 2 years as a full-time trader, and it's the best market that I could ever, like, for 15 years. I kind of tried all of them, which never gonna change this. And US markets is the best one, and Zimtra, it's well positioned to be the best It's not a broker as Stephen said, it's a prop firm, but it's well positioned to be the solution for the trader, especially those ones who doesn't have 25K to start. I would say as well that being a part-time trader now, for those who have the dream to be a full-time trader, it's experience that you gotta have, but don't be ashamed that if you understand that it's not for you, because it's not for everybody to be a full-time trader. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of emotional understanding of yourself, how to deal with the ups and downs. And for me, and we spoke to Stephen here, that having this as a side income is the best way that could fit in my life for the rest of my life. Because I love trading, but I love a lot of things like businesses, and I hope that I can help Zimtra in the near future. We can have another podcast, Stephen, talking about the solution that we're gonna be negotiating in the future. But in a way, I'm gonna be like just thanking you guys for the opportunity to be here. Hope you learned a little bit of not only about trading, but as well of understanding how you can manage the emotions and how to not making the mistakes that I did in the trading space. And that's it.
It's beautiful. I appreciate it. I'll leave that there. Hopefully we'll do one in Portuguese properly for the Brazilian audience one day as well, for the Brazilian speakers, because I know there'll be a ton being like, put Portuguese subtitles on, or do a Portuguese one, because there's a lot of people want to learn. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Obrigado, meu amigo. And I'll catch up soon.
Obrigado, Stephen. Hope I see you soon.